Namaskar. Hello friends. Today we will be taking up the first chapter of Class 10, Geography, Resources and Development. Let us begin this chapter with a self-assessment activity. Identify the various items used by us in villages or towns that which help in making our lives comfortable. Look around us. Everything available around us which can be used to fulfill or satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable, is called a resource. We certainly need to understand that, firstly, the gifts of nature are transformed into resources. That this process involves an interdependent relationship between nature, technology, and institutions. Human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. Now think, are resources free gifts of nature? Certainly not. Resources are not, they become. Resources are a function of human activity. A river is a natural endowment. The use of river as a means of transportation and generating hydroelectricity by human beings has transformed it into a resource. Resources are broadly classified into two types: natural resources and human resources. Natural resources are further classified into renewable and non-renewable. The renewable resources can be continuous or flow resources like wind and water, and biological resources like nature and wildlife. The non-renewable resources can be grouped under recyclable resources like metals and non-recyclable like the fossil fuels. Can you identify some recyclable metals? I am sure you will. The human-made resources include structures and institutions, and quality and quantity. Indeed, human resources are the richest resource of a country. Let us now try to identify the various types of resources. Resources are classified on the basis of origin into biotic resources, which are living resources, have life, and obtained from biosphere. Can you name some biotic resources? Abiotic resources are composed of non-living things like rocks, minerals, land. Resources are classified into renewable and non-renewable. They are classified on the basis of exhaustibility. Renewable resources can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical, or mechanical processes. They are also called replenishable resources. While wind and water are flow resources, forest and wildlife are renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are non-replenishable resources. They take a long time to occur, take millions of years to form. Do you know that some resources like metals are recyclable, while fossil fuels are not recyclable? Once consumed, they get exhausted. Resources are classified on the basis of ownership. As individuals, farmers own land, and as urban people, we own houses or property. You all will be able to identify resources owned by your household. What are these resources called? They are called individual resources. Resources like public parks, picnic spots, burial grounds, and playgrounds are accessible to all. Such resources are called community-owned resources. National resources. Well, all resources belong to the nation. Minerals, water resources, forest and wildlife resources are national resources. Land within the political boundaries and the oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles, approximately 22.2 kilometers from the coast, are known as the territorial water, belong to the nation. What are international resources? Well, the use of some resources is regulated by international institutions. The exclusive economic zone belongs to the open sea. No individual country has a right to utilize these resources of oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles without the permission of the international institutions. Do you know India has got the right to mine a mineral from the bed of the Indian Ocean beyond the exclusive economic zone? Children, can you identify the mineral? On the basis of status of development, minerals are classified as potential resources. They refer to resources found in a region but have not been utilized. Solar and wind energy have vast potential for development. Are you all aware that the world's largest solar park, the Bhadla Solar Park, is located in the Jodhpur district of Rajasthan? It is spread over a total area of 14,000 acres, approximately 57 square kilometers. Also, the Jaisalmer Wind Park, located at Amar Sagar in Rajasthan. You might also be familiar with Charanka Solar Park in Gujarat. Children, India is a tropical country. It has enormous possibilities of tapping the solar energy. It has a great potential of wind power. What are developed resources? Resources which have been surveyed and assessed, both qualitatively and quantitatively, to be used are called developed resources. For example, the northern plains. These have been extensively used for agricultural purpose. Let us learn about another type of resource called the stock resources. Materials in the environment having potential to satisfy our needs, but due to lack of appropriate technical know-how, human beings are unable to access these resources. Such resources are called stock resources. Reserves are a subset of stock resources with the existing technical knowledge. They can be accessed, but their use has not been started. Reserves can be used for meeting the future requirements. Can you make a list of resources that you can identify them as developed, potential, stock, and reserves? Well, children, having developed the understanding about the various type of resources that are found around in our environment, let us try to understand, why do we need resources? Well, resources satisfy our needs. They make our lives comfortable. They are vital for our survival. They help in maintaining the quality of life. It was believed that resources are free gifts of nature. Thus, human beings began to use them indiscriminately. Dear students, do you know that this indiscriminate use of resources has resulted into, firstly, a rapid depletion of resources for satisfying the greeds of few individuals. Secondly, it has led to the accumulation of resources in few hands. Thus, society is segmented into the haves, the rich, and the have-nots, the poor. Thirdly, indiscriminate use of resources has led to global ecological crisis such as global warming. Think why ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and the land degradation have become major issues of global concern. Children, is the future of our planet safe? Do you think that if this indiscriminate exploitation of resources by few individuals and countries continues? Remember, for a sustained quality of life and for global peace, equitable distribution has become necessary. Therefore, a planned, judicious use of resources for sustainable existence of all forms of life is essential. Do you know sustainable development means development should take place without damaging or harming the environment, and the development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. Dear children, do you know the term sustainable development was introduced by Gro Harlem Brundtland? A significant contribution was made at the first International Earth Summit in June 1992. At Brazil, more than 100 heads of state assembled in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. The summit was convened for addressing urgent problems at global levels. Issues concerning environmental protection and socio-economic development. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration on Global Climatic Change and Biological Diversity. The Rio Convention endorsed the Global Forest Principles and adopted Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. Let us now learn and find out more about Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21? Well, children, it is the declaration signed by the world leaders at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, the UNCED. Agenda 21 aims at achieving global sustainable development. The Agenda 21 aims to combat environmental damage, poverty, diseases through global cooperation on common interest and shared responsibilities. One of the major objectives is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. I would like to give you one little assignment, children. Find out more about the UNCED. What are its functions and the role significantly contributing towards protecting our own planet. Very importantly, it is very essential that we must also contribute in our little ways to protect our planet. Are you taking any initiative at your own level to associate, relate, and be sensitive towards all these resources, whether they are abiotic or biotic, renewable or non-renewable, or, well, the individual resources that you own? Take up this small activity. We would come back to the continuation of this chapter in another interesting way, and let us all make it a happy learning. The next topic we would be discussing will be the resource development.